But if you don't solve the source, if the source of your problem is still there, it's going to come back. So don't think that a chiropractor or acupuncturist is going to save you. Berserk Exponent says, any suggestions for people having lower back pain? My brother has stated since he was a kid, he's been having trouble. Unsure where to guide him. It is my opinion that a lot of times chronic problems have chronic sources. Not all the time. Sometimes you had you had like a bad feedback loop kind of lock you into pain. You have to, even though the source is gone, you need to break out of that cycle. That happens too. But a lot of times, like, we aren't paying enough attention to our own health and our own bodies to notice that we have a chronic source. And that chronic source could be something that you're doing all day, every day. Like, you have bad furniture. You're sitting on the couch a lot. You have a bad chair for you're sitting at your desk working all day. You have very bad form while you're deadlifting. All that stuff. So for me, my bad back issues, I had years and years where I was basically crippled, unable to walk. Based on most of my 20s, I was going through cycles of really bad back problems where it was difficult to walk. And my issue was basically posterior pelvic tilt, rounded lower back, where like this is a neutral spine with a little bit of a lordotic curve or an inward curvature of my low back. My natural slouch, if I'm lazy, was like this. Posterior pelvic tilt, rounded lower back. When I sat down on furniture, I'd be rounded like this all the time. And guess what? Bending my spine, opposite direction, bulging the disc out, pinching the nerves, causing a whole host of problems downstream that impacted my back today. Well, learning this and learning how to overcome this was crucial for me to figure this out. That basically I can't allow my spine to round. I cannot hold this position for very long. So like on the couch, I can sit on the couch for like 10 minutes, 30 minutes. If I sit on the couch for hours, I'm fucked. My back will start to hurt and it'll start to pinch my nerves. Couches are just in general terrible for spine health. But some people are more resilient than others, not me. I have had a history of back problems, so my resiliency is low with back issues and I'm very sensitive to it. But this is where I think a lot of people with chronic issues should start to look. Sure, yeah, go get some help from a clinician, a competent clinician, which I'll talk about in a second. But paying attention to what you're doing and what could be the cause, I think, is massive for anyone who's having any kind of chronic pain. So that's the first place that I would start. Exclamation mark back pain. You can see my video where I kind of talk about my issues specifically. I had two major issues that are causing lots of problems, which was basically general low back, low disc pain, that lower lumbar disc pain that a lot of people experience today. And then also the sciatic nerve pinching, shooting down my leg, impacting my ability to walk. Those two issues, I explain in detail what I had to do to get out of it. But it took me years to kind of like zero in on what the problems were. And it took me going through probably like, I want to say somewhere between 30 to 40 different clinicians to find some that were good. What I mean by clinician is anyone who's trying to help me. That includes doctors, discussing with surgeons. I didn't get surgery, thank God, because surgery for back problems is a really bad coin flip. You don't want to take that chance. And sometimes it can make things irreversibly worse. So talk to doctors, all kinds of doctors, surgeons, chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, try doing work with yoga instructors, doing work with personal trainers, dozens of them. And by far the two most, and physical therapists too, the two most helpful clinicians out of everybody hands down were these two chiropractor acupuncturist hybrid guys. They themselves, they're like two separate clinics, completely different people. They themselves did acupuncture and chiropractic. And for some reason, maybe it was just coincidence, but they were both leagues ahead of every other clinician. They were much better at understanding the body and explaining to me, this was key, explaining to me what I was doing wrong and explaining how to fix it. And on top of that, their treatment was good. Acupuncture, chiropractic, all that stuff is great and all. Any kind of treatment you do is great and all, but if you don't solve the source, if the source of your problem is still there, it's going to come back. So don't think that a chiropractor or acupuncturist is going to save you. It's not. If you don't take ownership of your health and learn what you're doing wrong and fix that in your life, it's not going to get better. It's only half the equation. Once you solve the issue of what was causing it, I think this is where a clinician can really speed up the healing process. So keep that in mind, that it's not just in the hands of a clinician. You own your health and you need to pay attention to what you're doing right and wrong. That being said, of course, there are good chiropractors, there's bad chiropractors, there's good doctors and bad doctors, good PTs and bad PTs and so forth. Every specialty has good people who are good at it and people who are bad at it. So don't assume just because they have the XYZ certification, they're all the same. They're not. There are, and this really goes like, talk to if you have any friends who are in any kind of healthcare profession, ask them, like, in their experience, if you get them like in a private one-on-one setting, like you can just chat and like just you can hear the real shit from them. Ask them like how many of their either colleagues or classmates, because it depends, right? If they're working solo, they may not have colleagues anymore, but colleagues or classmates, how many of them would they say are competent or they would trust are going to do a good job? What percent of the ones they experienced, like, or they worked with and saw? And so you'll be surprised, like, how, like, what their thoughts are. Like, yeah, man, there's like some of my classmates, like, they're gonna go work on someone's health. Like, fuck, I feel so bad for like all of their patients, right? So that's just an example. Like, you know, one of the examples I gave was my dentist. I had a bad dentist for many years. I had a receding gum line, never got fixed because that dentist never really actually cleaned. He kept blaming me on stuff I was doing. I did everything he said, never improved. Changed to a dentist. This other dentist audits other dentists. He cleaned me up. It was very painful, but he did a very good job cleaning. After that, my gum line stopped receding. My gum stopped bleeding because I was a good dentist. And I asked him what percent of dentists out there do you think are competent? And he said 6 out of 10, he wouldn't let them touch his dog's teeth. Basically, in his opinion, 60% of the dentists out there are garbage. So that's pretty scary. And he also, again, he audits other dentists. So he sees what's out there. Just because you have some sort of title does not mean you're any good at what you do. So keep that in mind. I'm not trying to shit on all of them as a whole. I'm trying to say you need to own your health. And if you're not getting better, you need to change your strategy. How long? A couple of weeks, a couple months. Give them a chance, be a good patient, listen to what they say, try it out. But if you're not getting better, tell them or change clinicians. That's another important part too, which is communicate with them if things are not working out. Anyway, yeah, Brother Skinny says, anytime I feel pain in the back or hips, I check my ergonomics at my work desk and home. Don't just treat the symptoms, find the cause, 100%. This is something I talk about too. If you guys want to do an ergonomic review here, !ergo, happy to review your setup, and I'll talk about that. And I'll talk about like what is like good ergonomics, what's bad, and review all that for you. So anyway, opinion at says clinicians, you mean physician? No, physician is a specific type of clinician. A clinician is just a generic term that refers to anyone who's trying to help you get better in a clinic. So that could be a physician. It could be like a doctor. It could be a surgeon. It could be a coach. It could be a power coach, right? Powerlifting coach. I've talked about them before. Is they're also pretty good at spotting issues that's causing pain. Could be a physical therapist. Could be a chiropractor, acupuncturist, all that stuff. So it's a very, very broad term for someone who's going to try to help you get better. Because even powerlifting coaches can't be clinicians, even though they can't legally say that. But on case in point, I spent 3 months trying to fix my QL problems with 2 different physical therapists, and neither one made a dent for 3 months of working with them, doing everything they said, all their stupid little PT exercises for 3 months, 0 impact on my QL. 5 minutes with a powerlifting coach, he cured, like seriously, like it was that drastic, cured my QL problems on the spot. He saw the issue, he said, you're cute, think of this Q instead, instant fix. It was that black and white. But anyway, Fantasy says, just because you can pass a class with a C doesn't mean you'll be good at the job. Same thing can be said, just because you pass a class with an A doesn't mean you can talk to patients and actually listen to them. Or just, you know, in general, like I'm echoing what you're saying, Fantasy. So anyway, hope that helps, Berserk. If you like the content, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Also, follow us on Twitch and leave the notifications on. Feed your brain, feed your body, and see you next time.